What you really need to get used to here in Central Ohio is handling the weather. Speaking mostly about winter weather, and specifically from December through, say, March. During that time, the daytime highs are sometimes below 32, but most of the time it's hanging around freezing. It's really not the temperature so much as that's the issue. It's the precipitation. We don't get as much snow here as you would think, but what we do get is not that wintry, white, fluffy stuff you see in movies. Snow is actually rather wet most of the time, and when it melts, usually in a couple days, it leaves kind of this gray, slushy stuff. It's gets your feet wet and keeps the roads nice and slick. Like I said, it's only a couple months long, so it's not so bad. And actually, the opposite end of the year is quite nice. The spring is welcome. The warm sunshine is a very welcome change. And then the fall is really prime time for Central Ohio weather, with brisk mornings and then nice warm afternoons. Perfect for dinner on the patio or a nice round of golf. Really, here in Central Ohio, the weather most of the time is fine, but February does suck. If you're thinking about moving to the suburbs here in Columbus, you're gonna have to get used to driving in your car. There's no train or subway or metro system to use. There is the Coda bus system, but if you live outside of 270, it's really not super convenient, and you're gonna have to drive to a bus stop to use it. If you're someone who thrives on jumping on the subway to get to work or do your shopping or even go to nightlife, you're just gonna have to get used to hopping in your car to do those things. Thankfully, you're able to get around town within 30 minutes or so still. Many people tell you Columbus doesn't have much of a nightlife, and I kind of disagree. It's just kind of spotty. If you're living in an area like the Short North Italian Village, there's lots of activities going late into the night most nights. But if you live in one of the suburbs, especially in the northern suburbs, finding places open past 11 p.m. is pretty few and far between. If you're thinking about moving to Columbus and you're a night owl who really likes staying out late, just be very selective about what neighborhoods you're looking at and ask your agent what nightlife is around there. Now, you're gonna have to get used to Red, White, and Boom. This is only a one-day event each year, but it is rather big. What it is, it's a street festival. They have live music, a parade, but really the crowning thing is the enormous fireworks display at the end of the day. The largest single-day event here in Columbus, with over 400,000 people descending on downtown. It's the Midwest's largest fireworks display. Obviously, if you're planning to go to the event, you got to deal with the parking and the crowds and the traffic and all those things. But even if you're not part of the event, you better be aware when it's going on. Otherwise, you'll just be consumed by it. If you're moving to Central Ohio, one of the things you really got to get used to is the constant change. This information is from the U.S. Census in 2010. Franklin County had about 1.1 million residents. In 2023, that number had ballooned to 1.3 million. That's an 18% increase just in Franklin County alone. According to the Columbus Partnership, the Columbus region is home to about 2.2 million people, and they're going to be expecting that to grow to 3 million people by 2050. This growth is actually counter to much of Ohio, and especially the other two big cities in Ohio, that's Cincinnati and Cleveland. Those cities actually got smaller between the last two censuses. So what's driving all of this growth? Well, that'd take another video, but the short version is that Columbus is home to the state government, Ohio State University, which is one of the largest universities in the country. It's corporate home to Cardinal Health, Nationwide Insurance. JP Morgan Chase is actually the town's largest employer. And future development is coming in the terms of Honda and Intel and several other projects around town. So this is all to say, if you're not comfortable with change, Columbus is going to be tough for you. If you're planning to move to Columbus, you got to get used to people shouting OH in large groups. It's a phenomenon unique to Columbus. Being part of a Buckeye fan, if you greet another Buckeye fan and you're out of town, generally it's just a quick, quiet OH, and the other person responds IO, and you shake hands and say hi to one another. Here in Columbus in the fall, it turns into somebody in a crowd of people screaming OH, and the remainder of the crowd shouting IO back at them. This is not limited to Buckeye home games. No, this travels everywhere. I've seen this at comedy shows around town, PTO meetings, and one very memorable experience at a fine dining steakhouse. Imagine trying to enjoy your nice ribeye and people are screaming around. It's a very popular chant these days. To the uninitiated, this is a little weird. To Buckeye fans, this is just Saturday. I'm Craig Balster with the Balster Realty Group and Keller Williams Excel. This was the things you kind of got to get used to living in Columbus. But if you want to know like the absolute worst parts about living in Columbus, just click that video right there. And if you're thinking about moving to Columbus, please give us a call. We'd be happy to talk.